Alia, welcome to India Today.
Thank you.
This is truly a special conversation for two reasons. One is because we are getting to meet you after a long time.
Yeah.
And second is because there's an exciting film coming up. The trailer is already killing it and making the right kind of buzz. I want to start this conversation and take you back in time a bit. I know we don't want to go back in time, but we've been sitting at home for quite some time. We've come out of that. How does an actor tackle that anxiety, that frustration of having work ready but not being able to put it out like anybody else, right? What was going through your mind in those days, and how did you stay grounded?
Well, when the pandemic first hit, 2020, we were in the middle of filming Gangubai, and I think obviously it took everybody by surprise. The whole world was confused. I remember it actually being. At the time also I was very consumed because Ranbir's dad was in hospital, and I remember that mental energy being about that, and I think only after a couple of months it actually hit me that, oh, we have been sitting at home for all this time and we don't know when it's opening up. So at that time there was more fear for what's happening in the world than really thinking about yourself and your work and stuff. When we resumed, it felt like, oh, it's all done. Then the second time when it happened, that's when it actually felt a little uncertain, because then it was like, okay, how often is this going to happen? And also that was the second time in the second wave is when I also got COVID. So I went through it, touch wood, everything was fine, and I recovered well. But it was that fear, okay, how often are we going to keep going back? Is this going to happen for, and the second wave was really, really distressing and very bad. Again, it was not about the film, it was about, again, what's happening in the world. By then, I'd also become extremely comfortable with the fact that, okay, listen, nothing is going to go according to plan. Everything is going to change. So you have to just take each day as it comes. I actually didn't face any anxiety on the work front for myself. It was more on an overall sense, what is the fate of the cinemas? What is the fate of audience coming back to the theatre? How is it going to work? How is it going to... It was more questions, which actually I was preferring not to ask myself, because the more you think about it, the more it worries and bothers you. So like I said, each day as it comes became my motto. And like that, we are here.
Absolutely.
I took each day as it comes, and it's seeming on the positive side now. We have successfully gone through the third wave. I mean, it's trickling down now, and people have now learned to deal with COVID. Restrictions are being lifted. Like, I remember when the swimming pools opened after 2 years, I was like, oh, finally. Like, it's seeming like, okay, now there is a change. Like, swimming pools have opened. So it is seeming more positive. It is seeming a little bit more certain. And it seems like it is the beginning of the end. That's what I would like to believe. But like I said, prepare, hope for the best, be ready for the worst, and keep soldiering on.
Absolutely. Keep soldiering on is the mantra, I think, that we need to follow.
Yeah.
And I also want to sort of get into the headspace of what is it like to work with Sanjay Leela Bhansali? What is it like to be on that set? Because, I mean, there are so many theories about how he is. One is the taskmaster, that he's been very strict. And during Savarya, Ranbir spoke about that. And Sonam spoke about that. And also, he's a perfectionist. He really does take his time. And so what was your thing? Like, did Ranbir also give you some insights before getting into this space that, this is what he will ask you to do?
I don't think, no, he didn't do that, because also that would, it would make my experience, like I would already have certain thoughts and perceptions before entering the experience. I know people use this word taskmaster and perfectionist a lot with him. I definitely do believe that he is, he's extremely dedicated and expects 100% of competence from his crew and his team and his actor and his, and all the actors in front of the camera. But I don't think he's a perfectionist. I think he is somebody who looks for, like I keep saying, magic. He looks for that quality which even you don't know you have within you. And I actually find finding magic harder, because perfection is technical. It's the right way of delivering the lines. It's a clean tone. He doesn't like cleanness. He likes something new, unpredictable.
Imperfection.
He wants you to take him on a journey which he's also not expecting. If he's expecting it, then it becomes boring for him, which is why he's actually constantly improvising and changing and this thing. And there's no one way of doing anything. on his set. It's always new ways of exploring a scene. You sit and there are million ways you can explore one scene. So we used to go on set, the day used to begin with us sitting and discussing the scene. We used to discuss for an hour, 2 hours sometimes. Go, then block the scene. See where all we can do it. We can do it here, we can do it lying down, we can do it sleeping, we can do it standing, we can do it standing on one toe, we can do it however. Okay, this is great, now go get ready. Then when I would go get ready, some new suggestions would come. Sir is thinking this, think about it, what do you feel? Then I would come back, so yeah, this is working. And suddenly it all changed again. So actually, I was always prepared for anything. There was a time where I couldn't go on to set without knowing my lines by heart. I used to learn my whole script 1 month in advance. In this film, I used to literally learn my lines on the fly because we used to keep improvising, keep changing, keep adding things, keep changing things, keeping the plot points in mind. But always the intention is to better and better. So
Right.
that journey is, I would not even know where the time was going on set. We used to shoot nights 6 to 6. I used to arrive before knowing it, it was 4 o'clock in the morning. I was like, yeah, kya ho gaya? After dinner break, you don't even know. Like, my time would go like this because that's how on the brain was.
Right. And Alia, if you look at your IMDb page, right, like if you go back in time and you go to Student of the Year, for
I have
example.
an IMDb page.
Yeah, I mean, you are on IMDb. Everybody's
Oh,
on
yeah?
IMDb. Your
Okay.
filmography is on that page.
Okay, I've never been on that page. Huh? How does it seem?
It seems interesting, and it definitely, from Student of the Year to Gangubai Kathiawadi, film on film, there's only been you exploring newer characters and we getting to see sides of you which probably we didn't get to see. So I want to speak to you a little bit about breaking the Alia Bhatt misconception. What do you think is the greatest misconception that has been about you, which you think you have unknowingly or knowingly been able to break?
Oh, that I think the biggest misconception is that I've been sort of given this like all my movies just placed and presented to me on a silver platter, which just comes to me because I ask for it. I think that's one major misconception, which I totally don't agree with, and I also don't understand how anyone can even say those things, because anybody who's in the business or has been a part of the business will know that you cannot survive even 17 minutes without being hardworking. So I know the amount of sleepless nights that I've had. I know the amount of cuts and bruises and aches and pains that I've had working. I've given my blood, sweat, tears to the process of filmmaking throughout my career, and it's been 10 years. And I don't believe that it's possible to survive 10 years in any industry if you're not hardworking. You can be talented, but if you're not hardworking, there's no survival. So I think that's one biggest misconception, that even if few people have it, I would sit and debate with them for 7 hours. I mean, I wouldn't, because I really don't care what people think. But I mean, that's one thing that I can very strongly and proudly say that nobody can really say. You can say I'm not a good actor. I don't care. But you can't say I'm not hardworking. You can say I'm not good looking. Again, I don't care. But you can't say I'm not hardworking. So that's one thing that I won't tolerate and agree with.
No, and absolutely. I think your work speaks for itself, and that's the mechanism to sort of deal with. Your dad is an institution in filmmaking in itself, right?
Yeah.
And every time he speaks something or shares something, it's always been so interesting because he has a very different take on life in general, goes beyond the camera and cinema. Who is your harshest critic back home? I wouldn't use the word critic, but whose opinion matters the most to you?
The people who I believe can be most honest with me, their opinion matters most to me. And I know there are a handful of people who will never have to sugarcoat things for me.
Like
Ranbir, Ayan, Karan, even Sanjay sir, he will never, he'll never say it sugarcoat. He'll always say things to me straight up. Even my sister Shaheen. There are a few people who I trust, my friends. I trust their opinion not because I don't think that what they say will be the way, but I know that they won't be dishonest with me. And that's what I value the most. Like, you don't have to sugarcoat things for me, because I rather have the understanding of whether it's working or not working. I'm pretty detached that way. I'm not always protective about my work.
Yeah.
I do my work and then I'm like, okay, chalo, give me the perspective.
Yeah, but it's a very interesting trait to have as an actor, not many have, which is you are detached in a way and
Yeah.
also attached so very much.
I'm attached emotionally, But I'm not protective that I don't think that I'm the greatest thing that walked planet Earth. I believe that it's a creative medium and everybody can do right things and maybe do wrong things and it could go left or right, not because you want it to, but because it's a creative medium. Sometimes sometimes the dots don't align and sometimes they do extremely well. It doesn't mean it's going to happen every time. So you have to watch out for when it doesn't. And the only way to do that is to get opinions. Now, if I'm only sitting and only thinking that I'm the greatest, I'm not asking for people's opinions, then I'm totally disconnected from reality. And that's one thing I can't stand. I don't want to ever be that deluded actor who's sitting at home being the first member of my own fan club.
I like that line. So does Alia Bhatt then have tears if a film doesn't work? Does it really affect her?
Of course, absolutely. Only because of the hard work and the experience that you mourn a loss. Like you do, and you move forward. You learn from it, and you move forward. No failure has not. A failure has always taught me something. I've had 2 films not do well in my filmography, and they were quite, you can say, disasters in the simplest term, and they both taught me so much from life and expectations and just general understanding of movies.
Right.
And you'll continue to learn.
Always, and I'm guessing you must have learned a lot doing this.
Yes.
On many accounts. Given the fact that when you look at your frame, or like you said, the body language to take on the character in itself, which has so much of weight as a persona, right? What was your learning about yourself back home, back when you look at it now? What has Alia taken from this character that has perhaps stayed with her?
I think that I have a very strong alpha side to me, which I don't realize. Yeah, I kind of realized it while making the film. You can say, oh, I'm small and bubbly and cute and all of that, but actually I'm a bit of there is a certain personality trait in me that is extremely competitive, and there's a shade of me that has, it is a bit, because I can feel it when I'm playing that part also and saying those lines and saying those words in terms of wanting to lead. I believe that a part of me, even though I prefer to be a student, also prefers to be a leader, like also enjoys that leadership, and likes to have a certain, sort of command. So I discovered that during the making of the film. And I think maybe, I don't know whether I became the character, but I don't think it's left me totally.
Because she does own her own space. Like, she does call the attention when she enters a room, right?
Yeah.
From the way she walks, she talks, and especially with the men,
Yeah.
the fact that she also wants to show that side of hers to them, that listen, I am not going to listen to what you're telling me. I'm my own person.
Yeah.
Is that something also, as an actress in an industry, times are changing, obviously, this whole conversation of pay disparity and women being on posters or women being called the hero of films, not being as same as men. You have also, I mean, have you first of all ever had this conversation with a director or a producer or been in a situation like this? And what is your take on this whole equation of equality between men and women in films?
See, unfortunately, I don't think it's, the conversation has gone across like various spectrums. But when you talk about the word heroism, it doesn't mean, I don't think heroism has gender attached to it. So when people say, oh, you're the hero of the film, I don't think they're referring to gender. I think they are, because over the years, when we talk about superheroes, or it's heroic. Heroic is a term used for, a great qualities displayed in a character and a personality, which is usually very selfless, right? Heroic.
Right. Sacrifice.
So I don't think there's gender attached to heroism and the word heroic. But what's happened through time is, because there's a hero and there's a heroine, there started becoming a differentiation that the hero is greater than or bigger than the heroine. Now, we do live in a male-dominated society, and that's been there for many years. And it's not just in India. We have expressed and experienced this conversation in every part of the world. It's something to do with the basic strength between a man and a woman, which is considered because men have a stronger upper body, that they have more strength. But there is also the counter part of it, with that women give birth, so they have more strength as well. Like, they have equal strength. So strength differs actually in terms of the physical strength. Where I feel like we're lacking is in terms of emotional strength that naturally men have in terms of their confidence women lack. It actually starts from the woman inside to be able to stand up for herself, to be able to speak for herself, to be able to actually not consider herself the weaker of the two genders. And now we're having these conversations openly about how actually we're talking about gender disparity, pay disparity, all those things. Also now we're living in completely different times. There's no such thing as just he and she.
Right.
Even genders are evolving. Even that has fluidity in it.
And we have Vijay Raj in the film who's...
Absolutely. We have that example in our film as well. So, even in terms of like, look at the film like Gangubai Kathiawadi, where the film is called Gangubai Kathiawadi, and you have a superstar like Ajay Devgan who is playing a part in the film. He's not thinking about, oh, where's my, why is my name not on the title? Where my poster came out first, and then his poster came out. He's not thinking about that because he's secure. He's been there for so many years, and he's owned his place and right. The security is what makes you not have that conversation. So I am today not going to think about why am I not getting paid as much. I'll get paid as much as I am valued, and I will ask for how much I'm paid. But you have to ask for it. If you don't ask for it, it's not going to come. So I truly believe that I've had a very good, been treated very well in the industry. Over the years, I have understood with my age and with understanding, and of course maybe doing this film, that there is subtle sexism that women face at constant times. And I have experienced that myself, but it doesn't make me angry. It just makes me more aware. And I think the only thing one can do is to talk to more women about it, because the more secure women are, the more understanding the men will have of equality. And I am only surrounded by men in my life who understand that importance of equality. So it's not something about male bashing, that women are the greatest and men are the worst. It's not about that. You're defeating the purpose if you think that way. It's about being equal, because at the end of the day, physical strength is not a barometer of actual strength.
Right.
Yeah, so I mean, I have lots to say on this matter, so I keep talking about it. But I think these are my two bits in general. And even if you see in Gangubai, the trailer, when Gangubai is talking also and she's saying that dialogue in the end, she's addressing women. She's saying Shakti, Sampatti, Sadbuddhi, ye तीनों ही औरतें हैं. Which she's talking about the striling. Shakti, Sampatti, Sadbuddhi. And then she says, ये मर्दों को किस बात कर रहे हो? She's telling the women that don't underestimate yourself. These are all you. It's within you. So don't let them take you for granted. Don't let them think you're any lesser. You don't think. It'll start with you believing that. Which is why when women come up to me and say, where you take you as an inspiration, I tell them it's all on you. It starts within you. It always starts within the women, and then it'll come out there. So I'm happy we're talking about it.
No, yes. And I'm thinking this will also open the doors for these conversations to happen across age groups and sexes. I think that's the whole point of having
but the
this.
conversation has been happening. In fact, it's time we stop having the conversation because it needs to just be action and less conversation.
Right. I finally want to ask you the fact that how does Alia Bhatt deal with the pressures of deciding what does she share on social media and what she doesn't, given the fact that you are one of the most influential, most followed person on social media, and you really give fans a glimpse into, a little bit of a tiny glimpse into your mindset in your life and stuff. How does Alia decide that? Is there pressure?
No, there's no pressure. I go with the flow. I try and keep it as positive as possible. If you've noticed, I'm very rarely ranting and speaking out anything negative. By negative, I don't mean even in terms of my thinking, and very, very rarely. I know it's a good opportunity for me to express everything, whether it's an opinion, whether it's a picture, whether it's a movie. But I try and keep it as light as possible, because I already feel like there's so much heaviness around. Like this, try and give as much sunshine as possible. That's my motto: sunshine, sunshine, sunshine. My production house, my is also called Eternal Sunshine Productions, because I believe in trying to give as much light into people's lives. So even though I may be having a bad day someday, I'm not going to be like, oh, having a bad day, even though actually that could be quite encouraging to people. And I actually want people to know that social media is not a barometer of everybody's life. Like, it's a mirage. It's a bit of like, you're only putting the good days, you know? You're putting the good pictures up. Yeah. But I try and keep it positive, because I just feel like if somebody's day is like, feeling a little this thing, and you see a good picture, you see a good quote. So I also started this thing called the Good Word, which is like encouraging quotes and stuff like that, just to give as much positivity back.
I think on that positive note, I must say that everybody is looking forward to Gangubai. I am personally looking forward to watching this film. I think it is definitely going to be something that we look back upon and be like, Alia did this. It will be a moment of pride for everybody who's associated with the film, and I think you should keep shining, keep taking on challenges, keep trying new things. I think that's the beauty of Alia Bhatt, and that's why we adore and love your work so much.
That's it.
So thank you, Alia Bhatt, for speaking to India Today.
Thank
and
you.
all the very best.
Thank you very much.